Welcome to Nasdaq Trade Talks. I'm Jill Malandrino, Global Markets Reporter at Nasdaq. Joining us for this segment, we have Joe Ladin, CEO of SFLMaven. Joe, it's great to have you with us. Welcome to Trade Talks.
Thanks for having me, Jill.
All right, Joe, and let's talk about some of the e-commerce trends that you're seeing, which are so key right now. We're also going to talk about Valentine's Day trends, if you can imagine. It's already coming up that quickly, but give us a little bit more background on the company and what you're seeing with e-commerce.
Yeah, sure. So we started 19 years ago. We sell affordable estate pre-owned luxury jewelry, and our main platform is eBay. We do auction format with some buy it now. So revenues are about $1 million a month in pre-owned luxury estate jewelry. Our website's www.sflmaven.com. So basically right now, like jewelry is very hot. The country's opened back up. People are going back out again, enjoying themselves. They want to look good, and we're doing really well. We're selling a lot of jewelry online.
So what was the impact of the pandemic on the company? Did it impact business initially in the beginning? Have any trends emerged that you think are here to stay going forward on the other side of the pandemic?
So we were impacted. We didn't have to shut down. We stayed running. For a couple months, it was a little harder to source inventory because all the usual channels that we get inventory from were, having some issues. But watches became really hot during the pandemic. People were locked in and they wanted to feel good and do something for themselves. And we noticed an uptick in sales for sure during the pandemic. And now that things are open again, people are buying and they're out there bidding on our items, and they want to look good, they want to feel good, and they want to wear jewelry.
So as we think about Valentine's Day trends, I thought it was interesting that you had noted that the smartwatch craze has been slowing down as social media platforms like Instagram are making traditional watches a big thing again. I find that to be really interesting because it's almost like, traditional watch sales almost fell off a cliff.
Exactly. Watch sales were down because, people wanted smartwatches and they weren't really looking at, or traditional watches. But so now with, the algorithms and with social media, you look at one piece of jewelry on Instagram and then your feed is filled with, jewelry all of a sudden. So I think people now are seeing it in their faces a lot more. It's being driven, the idea of owning jewelry is being, driven home like it never has been before. And people are seeing all the flexes online and they want to get in. And nowadays with, the tagging, they can actually see what they're looking at. If before in a magazine, if you saw somebody with a particular watch, you might not have known what that watch was. But now with tagging and with, the brands showing everything they have online, they get a feel for what's out there. And there's lots of options, now you can easily source vintage watches right off Instagram. If you see a watch you like, you can go through the tags and find sellers that have those watches right away.
Right. Well, it's also good for the e-commerce platform as well, because now are things that click through to buy.
Exactly. And that too. Yeah.
So when we think about
Valentine, as far as a research tool goes, it's really easy to research and see what you're looking at now. So it's great. It's fantastic.
So Joe, when we think about Valentine's Day trends, of course, the first thing that comes to mind are engagement rings. Are there any trends that you're seeing there? Is yellow gold coming back in fashion? Are there any trends that you're seeing within the stones or settings that are interesting to you?
Yellow gold's been coming back a lot. We've been having a lot more orders for yellow gold rings. Elongated diamonds are very hot right now. They've been the trend for a while. One thing that's kind of like the talk right now is Megan Fox's ring. It was a very unusual engagement ring, with an emerald and a pear-shaped diamond, which you don't see, except for Ariana Grande last year had a diamond with a pearl. And I think that sort of triggered this, this ring, and people look at the celebrities for the trends. So I think we're going to see a lot more of this. These abstract.
So I sit here with my solitaire ring. It's so funny to see how quickly the trends emerge in the engagement ring space. Any other trends that we should be looking at before we wrap up here?
Stacking is still hot right now. Chunkier jewelry is coming back. People are looking at a lot of like retro styles and incorporating that. So it sounds silly, but everything is hot right now.
Well, chunky jewelry coming back. That's a hat tip to the 90s. So looking forward to that one. Joe, thanks for joining us on Trade Talks. I'm Jill Malandrino, Global Markets Reporter at Nasdaq.
Thank you, Jill.